Hi, obviously I'm not an artist. In this log, I'm going to be displaying and discussing issue 15 of Hachette's Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol. Issue 15 comes with a Tyranid monster known as the Psychophage. This is also the final Tyranid in Combat Patrol, so in theory, this is the Tyranids finished. Notice I said in theory. The issue opens with the how to build section, and it states that this is the biggest model yet. And that is accurate, as the Psychophage is around the size of Imperial Dreadnought, and it's also an easy build, so no adhesive necessary. Moving up to the how to paint section, the issue recommends the Psychophage gets undercoated Wraithbone with 3 coats. I imagine this would be very tricky to get smooth, knowing the consistency of Wraithbone as a paint, and many uneven profiles on the model. Of course, my Psychophage, due to being done in a high fleet Leviathan schemes, coloration is going to look quite different. Let's take a look at the issue while the mini takes a spin. Fiction section displays an image of Space Marines battling the Tyranids on the tabletop. There is a definite focus on some Terminators being led by the Librarian battling the Psychophage. Above this is a story called Soul Feeder, in which a squad of Ultramarine Terminators with an attached Librarian called Calchas search a ruined starship. Calchas uses his psychic attunement to sense the location of the Psychophage aboard. Lamenting on his connection to the warp and how demons whisper a noble language to him, but a Tyranid's emotions and thoughts are so alien he can only make out hunger. He also goes on to consider that despite being a loyal Space Marine, his Librarian status means he'll never be truly trusted by his brothers, with the exception of Brother Folos, who he was bonded with as initiate. Calchas and Folos then have a psychic conversation, discussing whether the nearby beast is feral or connected to the Tyranid hive mind. This one has also been very troublesome, to say the least, devouring 2 Militarium battle psykers and an astropaths. Those unfamiliar, an astropath is a psychic communicator. Calchas states to Folos, regardless whether this monster is linked to the hive mind or not, they should be equally cautious. He then shares a memory with him from times past, like a psychic YouTube video, but without a comment section. They push it on, only to be ambushed by the Psychophage. It belches killer smog at the Terminators. One battle brother is caught in it, and he suffocates as the poison defeats his armor's air filters. Calchas uses his powers to slow time and investigate the best possible strategy to victory. He opens his mind to the warp and lets loose literal lightning through his fingers, damaging its outer shell as the nearby Terminator squad open fire on the beast with their storm bolters, which is nowhere near as effective as the Librarian's psychic attack, but it does distract it. It again goes on to spew smog, but Calchas charges in and attempts to hit it with his force axe. Unfortunately, he's too slow, and the Psychophage turns to face him in preparation for another breath attack. However, as the monster is solely focused on its quarry, Folos charges in and smashes it with his power fist, stating, "Well set up, brother, the next one is yours." On to information about the Psychophage in-game. Firstly, rolling for its background, then naming. This gives me an idea. I wonder what interesting name it will generate if I put the previous part of the script into an AI. Give us that. I give you Nullmore. That's pretty good. I might try using that in future issues. Moving on to its datasheet, and it's got base stats kind of like an APC. Its ranged weapon, Psychoclastic Torrent, acts like a flamethrower with a D6 auto hits, strength 6, -1 AP, damage 1 profile. It has the ignore cover rule, as most weapons of that type do. In melee, it has talons and bitentacle maw, which I keep reading as bispectacle maw. This is similar in its range attack, as it has a random hit profile, in this case D6+1, strength 6, -1 AP, but damage 2. It also does devastating wounds and anti-psyker 4+. This adds to the flavour to the monster, as is described as connected to the warp and having a palette that includes a fondness for psykers. On a wound roll of 4 or above, it does critical wounds. It has a 5-up feel no pain, giving it further survivability and deadly demise. This means on the roll of a 1, when it is killed, it'll explode, showering a single mortal wound of damage to any unit caught in the blast. A further ability attached to the Psychophage called Feed in Frenzy states that it gets +1 to hit in melee if it targets a unit below starting strength, and +1 to wound if the unit is below half strength. On to rules and play, and cover and terrain is investigated. It starts by stating if a unit is in cover, it gets +1 to its saving throw. However, this is not the case if units or models' weapon have the ignore cover keyword. There is then annotated diagrams to confirm whether a model is in or out of cover and how to move through or over terrain. Scenario 11, Battle Lines, has the Librarian, Terminator and Infernus Marines take on a Tyranid Prime, Von Ryan Leapers and the Termagants, but with a terrain-heavy battlefield. This is obviously to introduce the newly described cover and terrain rules. Interestingly though, the model in this issue is not included in the scenario. Anyway, issue 15 is complete. Next issue comes with paints, and then the following 2 issues after that will be another 10 Termagants. So I'll be selecting and painting alternative models for the next 3 logs. They're going to be Space Marine and Tyranid models though. Please like, comment and subscribe as I continue to chronicle the collecting, construction and creating.